For drama teacher Susanna Gill from Dorset, her garden is her pride and joy.
I've got a lovely long garden and this is where my chickens live. We all spend time out here. All the animals love it. It's our own little slice of heaven.
But in January 2026, Susanna's slice of heaven was devastated during Storm Chandra.
The storm happened on a Monday night, and when I woke up on Tuesday, the water was at this end of the garden.
Susanna's garden is home to a manhole for access to a storm drain. But instead of absorbing the excess rain, the drains were overwhelmed. And whilst the storm eased overnight, the drain was blocked, meaning Susanna's garden remained covered in floodwater for 3 whole days.
By the time Wednesday came, it was all over this part of the garden. And then by Thursday, it was ankle deep all the way down to the bottom of the garden, in the sheds, over the veggie plot.
And it wasn't just excess rainwater overflowing from the blocked drain into her beloved garden.
So coming out of the drain was a lot of poo, a lot of sewerage, a lot of mixed paper, toilet paper. And I saw lots and lots of wipes.
Susanna contacted her water company, Wessex Water, which cleared the blockage, and the grisly mixture of water and sewage quickly flowed back down the drain. But its verdict on the cause of the flood was clear: a mass of wet wipes. Susanna hadn't flushed any of them herself, but was suffering the dire consequences.
I felt amazed, actually, because it wasn't just 1 or 2 in the garden. There was 50, quite easily. There was no grass left. There was just covered in lots of loo paper, which had disintegrated, and just clumps of wipes.
Wessex Water swung back into action and put right the damage.
They have replaced the lawn, and it's been looking absolutely fantastic. But the reality of it is that paying for those people to do that, so it will inevitably cost us all more, and we have to take responsibility for this.
Water UK, which represents all the water companies across the UK, says wet wipes are a major cause of sewer blockages, and that when they congeal with oil and fat in the sewers, this can damage properties, flood roads, and cost the industry £200 million a year to clear up. It says nothing should be put down the toilet apart from the 3 Ps: pee, poo, and paper. So Susanna wants to know why some of these products are labelled flushable.
I've come into town because now I'm really interested in finding out which brands are advertising themselves as being flushable, and just to see what's out there on the shops. So here they are on the shelf, and they say flushable, up to 2 wipes per flush.
That was one of the biggest brands in toilet tissue, Andrex. But we checked the own brand moist toilet tissue wipes of the UK's 5 largest supermarkets as well, and all of them are labelled flushable. Susanna is not impressed.
I really think they need to stop marketing them as flushable, because although they can be flushed, what happens to them then?
Well, the firms behind flushable wipes say there's a big difference between moist toilet tissue like this, which is designed to disintegrate in sewers, and regular wet wipes or baby wipes which are not, so should only be thrown in the bin. But that distinction cuts no ice with water companies like Northumbrian Water, which has launched a war on wipes of all types. It's even got the message plastered on its vans. And to do it, the company has invented a special weapon. Meet the barbarian.
They look like medieval equipment, but they're just simple bits of tech that allows us to catch wipes throughout the system. They help us find which household is flushing wet wipes down the toilet.
Ronan Atwood has been at war with the wipes for the last 7 months, and this area is a bit of a hotspot.
So we'll lower the kit into the sewage line. The wipes will come past, get stuck on, and we use that as data. It also allows us to track back upstream and find the house that it's coming from.
Ronan's trained eye means he can tell the difference between flushable and traditional wipes amongst what's salvaged from the sewers. If they identify a house that's flushing wipes, Ronan will give them a knock and talk to residents about the impact that wipes can have.
This has been down there for 24 hours and this is what we've found so far. Wipes, flushable wipes and sanitary products as well. We've found a lot here, which means we still need to speak to people in this area.
According to Water UK, 1 in 5 people admit that they flush wipes down the loo. But Ronan wants to put that idea firmly to bed on his patch.
Hiya, it's Ronan from the Plumbing Water. Hi. Just to let you know I'm carrying out some maintenance in the area and about wipes getting put down. Here's a leaflet for you.
Thank you.
Our final message is we're still getting wipes there. We don't mind you using them. Just put them in the bin if that's possible, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Their aim over the next few months is to reduce the volume of wet wipes in the sewers in this area.
It's been really positive speaking to each individual resident and educating them. I think once you speak to one person, they'll go and speak to their neighbour and say, oh, did you see these in the area? And it'll just have a knock-on effect that way, and it's quite good to see.
Morning, lads. How's it going?
Morning, all right. How you doing?
But manager Simon Chianco is frustrated that this kind of work has to take place at all.
Our experience is, even though something says it's flushable, quite often all that means is it's going to get through the U-bend, under the toilet, into the pipes and into the sewers. Technically, it's flushable, but those items will go on and cause massive problems in the sewer. What we'd like to see on the packaging of wet wipes is the removal of the word flushable, and instead it'd be nice to see a big sign saying, please bin the wipe.
But while the water industry is anti-flush now, that wasn't always the case. In 2019, Water UK launched the Fine to Flush standard for wipes that had been designed and tested to break down in the sewage system. 5 years later, that was scrapped. So why such a screeching about turn? Joining me in HQ is Layla Swan from Water UK, along with environmental scientist and campaigner Laura Anderson, and our own producer, Katie Saatchi. First, Katie, I see you've got 2 very exciting-looking plastic boxes in front of you. Would you like to tell us what's going on there?
Well, this is a highly unscientific way of illustrating the difference between the way regular toilet roll and wet wipes break down in water. So I've got a box here with 4 squares of toilet paper, and this one contains a wet wipe, which is labelled as flushable moist toilet tissue. Now, what we're going to do is shake them up for 7 seconds. That's because one of our team flushed a toilet at home and timed it, said it was about 7 seconds. So we're trying to mimic that scenario. I'm going to ask Laura to help me while I do the same.
I'll do the counting, you tell me when to go.
Let's go.
Stop.
OK, and we're going to have a look at how much they've broken down, if at all. So this one is the toilet roll, and there's a few larger lumps, and then there's also lots of smaller pieces, you can see. And then if I compare that to the flushable wipe, that's in one piece, so that hasn't started to break down at all yet. But as we said, completely unscientific, but that's just a little bit of a demo to see how they break down in water.
And Laura, I presume this is a problem.
This is because, as we know, that in real life, in our sewer systems, we have many other things that are floating around in there, and things down our drains like fats, oils and grease. So what can happen is these flushable wet wipes and all wet wipes that go down the drain can combine with lots of these other components and actually form blockages. In the industry, they are called fatbergs.
I mean, do you think people are being led astray because, you know, these are being marketed as flushable?
We know that there is an additional level of confusion because of marketing of products like these flushable wet wipes, because people are flushing these down, but then potentially think that there's a whole range of things that are then OK to go into the system. And we know that's not the messaging coming from the water companies that are the ones actually having to deal with the consequences of all of these products.
Well, Layla, turning to you, I know your organisation in 2019 introduced what was called the Fine to Flush mark, which told people that they could in fact flush them. And based on looking at what we've seen, you must be rethinking that.
We introduced Fine to Flush in 2019. It was a voluntary scheme, but the reality that happened was that some products were passing that testing, but then a whole range of other products weren't passing the testing, but were calling their products flushable. And frankly, it ended up just being really confusing for customers.
Well, a lot of companies are still calling their products flushable. And would you say they are deliberately misleading the public?
Look, I think it's irresponsible to label a product as flushable when it's clearly not. They don't disintegrate in the sewer and they congeal and block. The message should be just much clearer and much simpler. Only the 3 Ps down the loo: pee, poo and paper, and everything else, please just put it in the bin.
However, the strength of the message coming from the water industry is being matched by an opposing message from some manufacturers, including market leader Andrex, as Katie has been finding out.
So Andrex's parent company, Kimberly-Clark, told us it agrees that regular wet wipes should never be flushed, and it says that it displays prominent do not flush labelling on the front of these packs, but it said that the exception to that is moist toilet tissue, which has been designed differently to regular wet wipes, and it's been engineered to break down more easily like toilet roll. Kimberly-Clark also said that Andrex hygiene wipes have passed 2 of the most rigorous industry tests for flushability, and that it advises customers to flush no more than 2 of them at a time to ensure that they break down as intended. Now, we also heard from the trade association that represents some of the wet wipe manufacturers, Adana, and it said independent tests have shown that in some of these major sewage blockages that we hear so much about, moist toilet tissue is only found in minuscule amounts, actually similar amounts to that of toilet roll. Adana also said all of its members must label their non-flushable wipes clearly with do not flush logos.
Well, Layla, listening to all that, the companies are saying that moist toilet tissue is different from wet wipes. What do you think of that?
The reality is wet wipes, moist toilet tissue, it's all the same thing. Those items are getting flushed down the toilet when they shouldn't be, whether it says flushable, whether it says biodegradable, compostable, whether it's a green packet with lots of leaves on it. Don't be misled. Please do not flush it down the toilet.
Well, what do you make of it, Laura?
I don't think that these companies can be 100% certain that their products are not at the heart of causing a lot of these. I think it's that misleading marketing. It's almost like greenwashing, that actually these companies are making a profit off of these products but are not dealing with the consequences down the line. And I think it's really telling that when we are asking the companies about this, they're saying, no, this is moist tissue paper, this is something completely different. No, it's not. These are wipes, and be really clear and responsible with this.
When we spoke again to Andrex's parent company, Kimberly-Clark, it strongly refuted Laura's allegation that describing moist toilet tissue as flushable is a green marketing claim, insisting instead that it is a performance claim supported by testing and evidence, and that moist toilet tissue is marketed as flushable because it is flushable. Both Kimberly-Clark and the trade body Adana stress the difference between regular wet wipes, which are designed to be strong and should always be put in the bin, and moist toilet tissue, which it says is shown in tests to behave in a similar way to luxury toilet paper. Kimberly-Clark added that moist toilet tissue is tested against robust, industry-recognised protocols designed to simulate sewer conditions, and said that while a product may remain visually in one piece in an informal demonstration like the one conducted in HQ, it is engineered to disperse over time. Both organisations also told us the majority of sewer blockages are caused by fat, oil and grease, which catch items that should never be flushed, such as cotton buds, paper towels and baby wipes. Adana reiterated that independent analysis of sewer blockages finds minuscule quantities of moist toilet tissue. Meanwhile, the British Retail Consortium, speaking on behalf of the supermarkets whose own brand moist toilet tissue is labelled flushable, told us it's been engaging with government as it considers an official policy position on do not flush labelling, and that it also supports bringing the UK into line with international standards for flushable products such as moist toilet tissue. For now, though, Laura is clear on what she believes should happen.
I think we need government intervention. We are on a trajectory to recognising these single-use products are really wasteful, but also we're on a trajectory to clarifying the marketing to make sure that consumers have confidence about what they're buying and where they could be putting it.
And what is the government's attitude?
Well, the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, is putting through the legislation to ban plastic wet wipes, so not this kind. And it's also urging people not to flush any wet wipes, even those that are labelled flushable. And meanwhile, the Water Minister, Emma Hardy, has written to manufacturers urging that product labelling for wet wipes reflects the government's message, which is that all wipes should be binned and not flushed.
Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Layla. Katie and Laura, thank you too.
Thank you.